Lakers, are we serious right now? A 20-point loss to the 5th seed Oklahoma City Thunder that is led by a 35-year-old Chris Paul. And don't get me wrong, Chris Paul is a phenomenal basketball player. But even with that, there is no excuse to be losing by 20 points to the 5th seed. We looked like the Knicks on defense last night. Raptors, Bucks, and Celtics fans must be laughing at us right now. So after this loss and the loss to the Toronto Raptors a couple nights ago, I'm starting to wonder if the Lakers should be worried about their chance at a championship this year. I'm going to give reasons as to why the Lakers should worry, and then I'm going to give reasons as to why the Lakers shouldn't, and I'm going to ask for your opinions down below on whether or not you guys think the Lakers are in trouble or not. But before we get started, if you don't mind gently tapping the like button for the YouTube algorithm, it's all I asked for, and let's get going with the video. First reason the Lakers should be worried is the most obvious one that everyone can see except Shannon, Nick Wright, and Kendrick Perkins. And that reason is, if we can't beat the Thunder, how do we expect to beat the Clippers? Forget beating the Bucks or the Raptors or the Celtics. We don't have to worry about any Eastern Conference team until we figure out how to beat the Clippers and if and when we make it out of the Western Conference. There's gonna be Lakers fans in the comments talking about how we already beat the Clippers, so why does it matter? We beat them once, we can beat them again. And look, you guys, I am a Lakers fan as well, but to me that win doesn't really mean anything, and there's a bunch of asterisks around that win. So let me tell you guys why that win is absolutely meaningless for the Lakers. That game came down to a buzzer beater. So in other words, the game could have really gone either way. If LeBron didn't get his own rebound and put it back in, the Lakers might have lost. Or if Paul George didn't miss that 3 at the end of the game, the Lakers could have lost. So it's not like we beat them because we're an obviously better team and we played a better strategy. It came down to the final seconds, and the Lakers just did a better job of closing out the game than the Clippers that night. Another reason why that win doesn't really mean anything is because the Clippers didn't have Lou Will or Montrezl Harrell. Each of those guys are averaging 19 points. So the fact that we only won by 2 and the Clippers didn't have either of those two guys, that is not looking too good for the Lakers. And overall, the Clippers just have a better bench than the Lakers. So if our bench isn't contributing at a high level, the Clippers and their bench are really going to capitalize on that, and that's going to hurt the Lakers. And quite frankly, in the playoffs, a deep bench is more important than having superstars. We saw this when the Warriors were reigning the NBA. Their slogan was strength in numbers, not strength in the big three. Even last year, a huge factor to the Raptors winning the championship had to do with the depth in their bench. People were saying the Raptors were going to be terrible when Kawhi left, but what they don't understand is that a strong bench of guys with chemistry is priceless in basketball. The Lakers need to be walking all over every single team in our conference if we even expect to have a chance of beating the Clippers. Superstars are a great thing to have on your team, and if you can have superstars, then that's amazing. But I'd rather have a strong bench with strong chemistry than a couple superstars with a terrible bench. And that is something that the Clippers have a huge advantage on the Lakers. Now, the second reason the Lakers should be worried is because we played terrible perimeter defense. As a whole, the Lakers play good defense. They are 3rd in the NBA in defensive ratings, but when it comes to perimeter defense, we are one of the worst teams. The Oklahoma City Thunder and Chris Paul took advantage of that last night, and their players filled up the entire stat sheets. The Thunder had no problem catching the ball on the perimeter and taking the ball to the hole on the Lakers. And both teams did an absolutely terrible job last night shooting from 3, as they each only made 5 threes last night, but I'm worried as to how the Lakers are going to defend the Clippers when they have all of their players. Kawhi and Paul George can score more than 30 points from anywhere on the court, and then the Clippers also have Lou Will, who can dominate around the perimeter. So once again, should the Lakers be worried? If we can't even guard the Thunder on the perimeter, how do we expect to guard the Clippers on the perimeter? Not even the Clippers. Let's talk about the Houston Rockets. Their best players are perimeter players. If we see the Houston Rockets in the playoffs, James Harden and Russell Westbrook are going to go absolutely insane because they are some of the best perimeter players in basketball. Now that we discussed why this is worrisome for the Lakers, let's talk about why it could also not be that big of a deal. Last game, the Lakers clinched the 1st seed in the Western Conference. So in other words, even if we lost the rest of the regular season games by 500 points each, it doesn't matter because we are still going to the playoffs as the 1st seed in the Western Conference. So I have a small feeling that in the locker room before the game, they said they're going to play lackadaisical because it doesn't really matter if they win or they lose. They want to stay healthy, they want to stay fresh. They don't want to exert too much of their energy playing the Thunder because they rather save their energy for the playoffs. So I have a small feeling that Frank Vogel and the rest of the coaching staff said that to the players before the game, and that could be why we lost by 20 points, but at the same time, I don't really think that happened, and here's why. Every single NBA player took 4 months off because of the pandemic. So in other words, these players are still fighting to get into their top shape. I would have used this game and the rest of the regular season games to try to fix some of the loopholes in our system. I feel like playoff teams should be going at least 85 to 90% effort every single night so that when the playoffs roll around, they are in top shape and their skills are fully honed in. It'd be a different story if the season never got suspended, but because the season got suspended, all of these players are rusty. So last night's game, if taken seriously, could have definitely helped the Lakers hone their skills a little bit better and practice their chemistry because they haven't played with each other in 4 months. And I'm not sure if I said this earlier, but good job to the Oklahoma City Thunder for destroying our perimeter defense. They saw the flaws in our defense and they capitalized on it, so I gotta give them credit. So now that I've given my reasons as to why the Lakers should worry, and I also gave my main reason for why the Lakers shouldn't worry, I want to know what you guys think. Should the Lakers be worried? Should they not be worried? Please give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. I'd really appreciate it. Comment your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think of everything I said. And hit subscribe for daily NBA news. That's it for today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you for watching. I'm out of here. If you're still here, consider watching this other video I picked out for you down below. Please just watch it. I'm trying to get to 300 subs, so go watch that video. Let me know what y'all think. And hit the like button on that video too. All right, see you guys.